Vaping among rangatahi continues to increase in popularity, with many choosing to vape regardless of whether they've smoked before. The government is now seeking feedback on measures to reduce rangatahi vaping, and the Asthma Foundation says urgent action is needed. The Foundation's Chief Executive, Letitia Harding, is with us now. Tēnā koe, Letitia. Thank you for joining us.
Tēnā koe.
Now, the government has released a statement asking for feedback on several of their proposals, which include proximity restrictions of vape retailers, restricting vaping flavour names, and restricting single-use vaping products. But your foundation wants a more hands-on approach, doesn't it? What messages do you want the government to hear?
Well, I think it's great that finally the government is recognising that we do have this huge problem with vaping in our rangatahi. I think that's the first step, is to recognise that. And I think the thing is that we need to actually put in tighter regulations, capping the nicotine levels that are available and capping the number of specialist vape retailers we have around the motu. We've got over 1,100 now. So, that's a huge amount. And then the hands-on, community education of our rangatahi, which, we've been heavily involved in at the foundation.
Look, we know what smoking does for the most part. Do we have much research around how vaping can impact particularly rangatahi?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we know that vaping as a standalone product does actually affect the lungs, it does affect the circulatory system, it does affect the heart. So as a product itself, we don't want our rangatahi becoming dependent on these products. And it's why, last year the foundation was fortunate enough to appoint our first Apiha Takawainga Māori, so our community Māori liaison, Sharon Pihima, down in Tarawhiti. That was something because we wanted to work with rangatahi in that community to really find out how can we help, how can we educate and tell you guys, hey, this isn't good for your lungs.
And of course, peer pressure is not helping either, is it? Because so many are doing it now. I believe even the schools are trying to eradicate it somehow. No one has the full solution, but the foundation has been working on the harms of vaping for our rangatahi. What mahi have you been involved in, and what statistics do you have around vaping involving rangatahi Māori?
Yeah, so we met back in 2017 with the Ministry of Health. As you said, we've been involved in the space for quite some time, saying that this was going to be a huge problem for our rangatahi. We were really worried about it. We launched the Don't Get Sucked In website as a way for mātua and rangatahi to talk about vaping, get them a little bit more aware of the harm that vaping can cause. We also interviewed a spotlight series of vaping experts in the space, so cardiologists, respiratory physicians, and then appointed, as I said, our first Apiha Takawainga Māori, and of course we worked with the Life Education Trust on school programs. So a lot of space, we've been involved in the community on that education, and the statistics are high, especially for Māori. We need to be really concerned. The ASH 22, ASH Year 10 survey last year showed that for Māori teens, over 22% were vaping daily. That's a huge amount. And 25% of Māori girls, so more than any other group, 34% of Māori Year 10 were regular vapers, and for Māori girls it was high, 40% were vaping regularly. This is a huge problem, and we want to make sure that they're aware, hey, this product as a standalone product, you don't want to become dependent on it. We get calls from concerned parents saying their kids wake up in the middle of the night to have a vape. They take their vape to the shower. We don't want that for our rangatahi.
And how do you plan on rolling out your pilot program, and when, to try to reach all at-risk communities?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've currently got a funding proposal for 4 Apiha Takawainga Māori with Te Aka Whaiora. We're hoping to hear back by the end of February, because we'd like to roll this out in school term 1. If we could get that funding proposal, it means we can do what we did down in Tarawhiti and roll it out across the motu, which would be fantastic.
So looking across the Tasman, you can obtain vapes by prescription only in Australia. Now, is this the path you'd like Aotearoa to follow in order to accomplish your goal to have fewer than 5% of New Zealanders smoking by 2025?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, there there is a place for vaping, but it's with for those people who are current smokers, but it's with intense wraparound services. It's not for our rangatahi to be picking up. And in Australia, it's prescription only for vapes that contain nicotine, and that's the difference, because you've got to have that wraparound support service. You've got to talk to your health professional. Nicotine is one of the top 5 most addictive substances. So it is hard to quit smoking, and it's going to be incredibly hard if we've got rangatahi who are dependent and addicted to vapes.
And I guess there are a number of issues to look at, not only peer pressure, because I'm sure a lot of teens particularly are sitting around talking, vaping. What about flavours? Is taking the flavour out of vapes, is that a potential solution?
Potentially. I think that the issue is there's over 17,000 flavours on the market. It's massive. And as you said, social media, TikTok, that is a really hard way to try and control, but it's what our kids are getting exposed to all the time, and that peer pressure. I've got 5 tamariki myself, so, we know that this is happening in parties. And the fact is that with 50 milligrams of nicotine being allowed here in New Zealand for these vapes, and kids going through one of these pods in 2 or 3 hours, of course they're going to get dependent on it. We want to cap that nicotine level down to 20 milligrams in line with the UK and the EU. That would be a good start. So if our tamariki are experimenting, they're not likely to get dependent on these products. So there's a lot that can be done, and there's a lot that needs to be done. And the foundation is ready for the mahi, and we're going to keep doing it, and we're going to keep fighting it.
Well, good luck. It's nice to know some are working on it. Thank you so much. Asthma and Respiratory Foundation Chief Executive, Letitia Harding, thank you so much for joining us today. Ngā mihi nui ki a koe.